pitch has one for my business and one for me. If you can't benefit us both, I'm substantially less interested in what you're pitching.
Ah, so one for me being the CISO itself.
Me being the CISO. Yep.
Okay. Angela, give me some bad advice on pitching a CISO.
I say bad advice would be focusing only on the features of the technology and not the operational fit.
Well, that is sufficiently bad advice. All right, Howard, one up, Angela. Give me some worse advice.
Referencing customers that have recently been hacked.
That is sufficiently bad.
Always horrible.
All right, let's start this.
Get ready. It's Super Cyber Friday.
Welcome, everybody, to Super Cyber Friday. My name is David Spark, and our topic today is hacking CISO self-interest, an hour of critical thinking about how security leaders actually make decisions. All right, this entire episode, our discussion, is actually based on a post that Howard wrote that vendors need to know that, like, hey, CISOs, they make decisions that are very sort of self-motivated by their own self-preservation. I'm going to have Howard set that up at the beginning. But first, let me introduce Howard Holton is one of our guests. He's now brand new CEO over at GigaOM. We're thrilled that we adore Howard and GigaOM, and another person we adore we haven't had on a while, but thrilled that she's back. It's Angela Williams, the SVP and CISO over at UL Solutions. You know them. They have the little UL with the circle around it on most of your products. All right. Lots of different ways to participate. The chat room, you've discovered it. It's right there. You can submit how to better evaluate vendors. That's our 10% better tip. Just do hashtag 10P. And then join us on video at any time with Bring Me On. Any of you ask questions of your guests, vote for your favorite question. Have fun with this. All right. Our schedule is good advice, bad advice, worse advice. We'll have how to better evaluate vendors, our 10% better tip. We'll play the public interest. And we'll also play which password is more popular. That's a brand new game we have. Those are going to be played through our Kahoot platform, or not our Kahoot platform, the Kahoot platform, which is integrated with this Airmeet platform. And if you look on the icons to the right of the video or left of the chat room, there's one icon that looks like an old Nintendo controller. When we play the game, you're going to click on that, and that's how you're going to play. And by the way, for our second game, the password game, we will be giving out a prize. Last questions and answer, and then we'll do our meetup. Just one more thing to mention. Our next show will be Hacking Remediation. That's November 7th, 2025. An hour of critical thinking about how to better speak to the community. And if you look at the top of the chat window, you'll see a little like light blue and white box. You can register for the Hacking Remediation on November 7th at any time during this discussion. And in fact, I may periodically put the call to action like full on the screen there. You're going to be compelled to hit the upper right-hand corner, but what you want to do is click the lower left to actually register for the event. Again, it will not take you out of our discussion. It will just open up another window. You can register while we're in this discussion. And then very lastly, we will have a meetup at the end of the show. If you've never been to that, we would love it if you join us. Please stick around. It'll be a lot of fun. All right. We have a lot of our regulars in here. Oh, more people are entering right now. That is excellent. I want to get to the topic at hand. And Howard, I want you to set this up because this is all based on a post you put up just 3 weeks ago up on LinkedIn that drove a lot of attention and interest. Explain what you mean by self-interest of a CISO.
Sure. So it kind of goes back to my one for me, one for the business kind of thing.
Right.
Right. I think what people miss is the role of the CISO is somewhat unique in in any enterprise. We're the only ones that can be directly sued for failing to protect the business, which is odd considering we have actually no control over what we're allowed to do and what we're not allowed. We have very little control. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
Right. We seem to have inherited a disproportionate percentage of liability. Additionally, we report to a board, and as a CEO, I report to a board. You know what my board cares about? My board cares about money. That's what my board cares about. You know what my board doesn't want to hear? Is how I want to spend more money. If it doesn't make them money, they don't actually want to hear about it. None of them are technologists. Not one. And even within technologists, the number of cyber technologists that you actually find in a board rounds to roughly 0, even if you're rounding up, right? So my focus really was like, guys, you're doing this wrong. Stop talking to me about the features. Stop talking about speeds and feeds. Tell me how you're reducing my liability and improving my trust with my board. Some people misinterpreted that and thought what I was saying was, tell me how I'm not going to get fired. I only make decisions when I'm not going to get fired. That is not remotely what I was trying to say.
Right.
Trust is a commodity like cash.
Right.
Every positive thing I do increase trust with the board. Every negative thing I do through their eyes, not mine, decrease trust with the board. Show me how you're going to help me increase the money I have in that trust bank, not decrease the money I have in that trust bank.
And taking this to you, Angela, we don't want to mistake the phrase self-interest with selfish. It is not the same
Right.
thing at all here. Self-interest has to do with what your job requires. Me personally, CISO of this company, is my self-interest.
Mm-hmm.
And so when vendors are talking to you, they have to understand your self-interest, your job requirement. The line that we have quoted umpteen times on the show from one of our CISOs, Steve Zalewski, who used to be the CISO over at Levi Strauss, he would always say, how does this help me sell more jeans? So do you have kind of a line like that you talk with vendors, like, so they get it, like, hey, talk to me like it's of my interest to pay attention to? What do you say?
Right. So just like with Howard, there's a lot of pressure on us as CISOs because we got to get it right as close as possible, as many times as possible. So when I'm interacting with vendors, I'm more of a mean what you say and say what you mean, so that I am very clear about what is it that you are potentially selling, but it should be a partnership. And so I always talk to vendors in regards to, I don't want a transactional relationship here. I would like a strategic relationship. You should be in it to win it, like with me, just like I'm in it to win it. And if we're going to be partners, there's a certain level of this relationship that you have to put some skin in the game. And therefore, sitting in my seat, understanding the world from my lens is how you help me help this organization.
And I would assume you expect a certain percentage of them to get it before they even talk to you. Like, there's, we talk a lot about, you do some basic open source intelligence to understand what the business is. Don't come in flying blind. I mean, I'll give you a
Yeah.
perfect example. Someone who expressed interest in sponsorship with us actually referred us to somebody else in their company and talked to us. And when I spoke with the woman goes, I said, "Are you familiar with the CISO series?" Because they were referred to by somebody else. She goes, "No, but I've talked to a lot of CISO series." And I go, "Hold on, we're the only CISO series." And right then I was like, "We're going downhill from here. Like, this isn't going to go well at all." Howard, you're nodding your head, and you were like, you're touching your heart on that because of what Angela said. What struck you?
Well, there's kind of a bunch there, right? The fact is, partner means we're in it together. If you email me, go, Howard, I'd like to explore how we can enter into a partnership. And I go, great, what's in it for me? And you go, well, you get to buy my crap. That's not a partnership, that's a transaction,
Yes.
right? A partnership means I do more than give you money. You invest in me and I invest in you.
And the
And if
thing
your
is,
investment in me is not equal, it's not a partnership. That is a
right,
divorce.
also, if you do well, I do well. Like, we both
Yes.
do well. That's the thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think it's
And then
also about in that relationship where you are able to evolve because they're growing with you potentially. So if that partnership is not set from the very, very beginning, I'm not interested.
also don't just stop with the assumptions about my business. I worked in e-discovery for a decade, and so every tech vendor would come in and go, we do e-discovery too. And I go, no, you don't. And they go, yeah, we do. I go, no. You know how I know? Because I still have to have a forensic investigator go capture data from your device because it sucks. Stop assuming the label that you put on your tool matches my business in any way. It's cute that you think it does, but if they would have just said, I have a passing familiarity e-discovery because we built e-discovery features into my tool, totally different conversation. right? I want you to understand what I do from a perspective, not understand what I do from expertise, because you likely don't have the expertise unless you worked for me or a competitor.
Let me ask you a question, Angela. If I was a vendor coming to you, would it be appropriate? I'm going to sort of set something up, and you tell me if this would be appropriate and how, and you would like this, not like it, or want to change, whatever. But saying, Angela, we looked at your organization, and this is where we research. We research here, this area, this area, this area. As far as we understand your environment is like this, and this, and this. That's what we could tell from open source and from our colleagues we've chatted. Am I right on this? What am I missing? Like, is that an okay way to begin a conversation?
Not really for me.
No? Okay.
No, not really, because you
All
don't
right.
know
So
what
that I'm
problems they're
glad I'm
trying to
glad you
solve.
corrected me there. So what would be a better way to handle it?
I would say approach me with, hey, what problems are you trying to solve? We can from the jump street figure out is this going to be a good match or not? Because if I can't nail upon a problem that your solution can actually fit, we don't need to talk anymore. I don't need to waste your time. You don't need to waste my time. So I prefer an approach of talk about your problem, not talk about your technology gaps.
Right.
Well, talk about what you can solve. Don't even
Hmm.
talk about the problem, right? Like, let me talk about the problem.
Yeah.
The weirdest thing for me is a sales call where you have an executive on the sales call, and you do all the talking. Why
Yeah.
would you do that? Every time I open my mouth and say something, I'm giving you intelligence to move the deal forward.
Yeah.
Every minute that I'm quiet, I'm looking to escape the room, right? I generally am triple booked. It is a lot to get a half an hour with a vendor.
Mhm.
So if that's not valuable, I'm out. I'm not interested. I got three other things I'm
Right.
slated
Because
for and five other things to do.
a lot of times the vendor thinks, I just got to make sure that they hear my pitch, which is not the
No,
goal at
no,
No,
all.
they're
because
not
I don't care about
listening.
your pitch. I'm
Yeah,
not buying a product. I'm buying trust, right?
absolutely.
My engineer buys a product. My analyst buys a product. That's fine.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Do that when you're in the room with them, and do that
Yeah.
with them when I leave the room. Right? Your goal
Right.
with me should be, how do I establish trust? How do I explain to Howard that every single issue, every time someone clicks a button in our platform, every time our platform does something and generates a ticket, we're right there with you.
Hmm.
We're
Right.
one step to the right and one step back. We got your back
Right.
every second of the day, right?
Yes.
So I don't like
And be very
I don't care at all.
transparent. Right.
Yeah.
I think the transparency of what the product doesn't do is also to me adding value to the trust.
But I was just going to bring that up, Angela, because we do this on our other show, Security You Should Know. What you just said is the thing I hear again and again and again from CISOs as probably the number one trust builder is when you clearly say, we swim in this lane, we don't do
Mhm.
this.
Mhm.
What does not build trust, and ironically, and a lot of young account executives
Mhm.
don't realize this, is when you say we can do it all.
Right.
That
Over
is the
promising.
biggest antitrust builder.
Yes, big time, big time. Over promising, under delivering. I just it eats my brain. I just don't
Uh,
like it. It doesn't make sense.
I don't even care if it's an overpromise that you can deliver. Like, I don't even care if it's real. You just make it a hyperbolic statement, which totally disrupted my thought. I was on a train to get to a destination, and you just said, "Hey, Howard, any destination is good." Why would you do
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
You've now
Yeah.
just opened a can of worms that allows me to ask you any question, and
Right.
you've said you can do it. Why would you do that? Stop.
Yeah.
I told you what I needed. Just focus on what I needed. The other thing is, I'm a strategic resource, right? Within my company, I do nothing tactical. If
Right.
anything I do that's tactical is not actually doing my job, I'm doing someone else's job. My job is
Mhm.
to be strategic. So tell me your strategy. I'm entering into a 3, 5, 10 year relationship.
Mhm.
Tell me your strategy. Tell me your why. If your why
Right.
and my why match, we're that much further down the road. I don't
Agreed.
even, I may not even care that you can't do the thing I absolutely need today to the completeness I need. But if your path is my path, then I
Mhm.
can absolutely make an assumption that if I sign on and we're on the same path, I'm going to get where I need to go and probably beyond where I even think I need to go because we have that alignment. And everybody misses that piece.
Yeah. I think they also miss interoperability. That's a big deal for me. I just don't like all the components sitting around and everything works individually or independently. And there's a story around, oh, we'll integrate with this, or we actually pull data from that. And some of that's not necessarily true. But when you've got a tool kit that has a lot of components and everybody's expanding what features and capabilities a tool I already have is doing. Why would I need to go get something that new? And then at the same time, there's no interoperability. They don't talk to each other. They don't even speak the same language.
Yeah.
By the
Phil
way,
asked a question.
yeah,
What
Phil,
keeps
I
you up at
love
night?
this.
Yeah.
Do you hate the question, what keeps you up at night? Because I hear that from the
Yes.
youngest of the youngest. Yes.
Oh, I have a perfect answer.
I
What?
do too.
Stupid questions from sales reps. Seriously, that is always the answer I give because I'm a CISO, I'm a CIO, I'm a CTO, I'm now the CEO. I was a COO before this. You know what keeps me up at night? Nothing.
Yeah.
I sleep real well, honestly, right? And frankly, if as a CISO you're kept up at night, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah.
As a
I think
CISO,
so
you know
too.
exactly what your team is capable of and what the business expects from you and what the delta is, and you've explained the delta back to your board.
Yes.
Right? So the board, if you've done your job right, the board has a reasonable expectation of you and you've reconciled the delta. There's always a delta. There's always a we need to do these things to eliminate the risk. You've not given me the funds for this, but I've explained it and I've reconciled it to myself, so I'm doing the best I possibly can. I sleep like a baby.
Yeah.
By
Yeah.
the way,
Risk
the chat
management
room
is
is
big.
blowing up right now, and I'm thrilled. Thank you, everybody. But I think we're ready for our first game. Let's play our first
Ooh,
game.
yes.
Josh, can we get the first game up? Let's do this. And then everybody, go ahead and I'm going to give you a few seconds to get in this. What you can do is,
Do you know what others are thinking?
oh, is it?
On the public interest.
All right, we're not doing the password one, right, Josh? First, this is not the password one. That's the public interest. So what you're going to do is, yeah, okay, people are getting in right now. So click the icon that looks like a game controller, and you'll see Kahoot will, you don't have to pull out your phone unless you want to do it, but do that, and then you just type your game pin and your name. And I haven't even seen this, so I'm gonna play as well. I'm gonna enter as well. Whoops! Oh, whoops! I'm putting in the wrong number. I was putting my name in first. So everyone, go ahead and enter in. And by the way, Angela and Howard, you can play along as well. I have not seen these questions, so I'm going to play as well. So if I beat you all, well, that's your problem. But you'll answer where the chat window was, and this. All right, I'm going to do a 10-second countdown. Make sure everybody is in. I know there's a lot more of you than are actually registered, so I'm going to give you the 10-second countdown, and then we're going to play. 10, 9, 8, 7. Make sure you get in. Remember, type in that number 589-7864. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, Josh started. I think we have just 4 questions here. All right, CISO series. The public interest, Halloween themed. We're going to go. So these are going to be, which term has the most monthly search queries specifically on Google? Consistency or commitment? Ooh, select one.
I bet I
select
chose
one.
wrong.
Let's see.
Oh, wow.
Oh, I chose wrong too. So 4 of you got
I was right.
consistency correct.
I got it right.
Oh, good job.
As did I.
Who's H2?
That would be me.
Hold it, you got it right? I thought you
Yeah.
said you got it wrong.
I did because I figured commitment, having a relationship impact, commitment would actually be higher, and I clicked consistency.
Huh? Okay. All right. Well, good job. Look at that. Almost double
Wow.
there. Well, yeah. All right. Consistency is quite more popular. Let's go. Next one. We got a bunch of these to choose from. Ooh. Coercion, manipulation, or persuasion. All right. I picked one. You only have a few seconds to decide. Some of you missed. Some of you didn't get a decision in there. All right. I got one correct here. I am not on the top list. That must be you at the top there, ACW, yes?
That's me.
Oh,
Nice.
very good. I'm impressed. So you're 2 for 2. By the way,
I got that
getting
one
4
wrong.
for 4 in this game is extraordinarily difficult. Less than a handful have done it. Oh, actually, 2 of them would have been correct. Persuasion or coercion. So excuse me, I take that. Yeah, persuasion or coercion. All right, next one. Scarcity, affinity, authority. All right. Again,
Ooh,
I
got that one
got
wrong
it.
again.
Oh my God!
Affinity.
Only one of you got it right for affinity.
Wow.
Wow.
Oh, who got it?
Who would have
Yeah.
guessed affinity? Like that's
Yeah,
a
that
that's
was
a
definitely
that's a neat one.
Viper. Good job.
Viper
You
got
know
it.
what?
very.
The reason the things there's always like a brand name called Affinity or something that people search a lot.
Mm.
You never know.
Oh yeah, because they're that finance company that does the micropayments.
Is it? Is there an Affinity
They're
for
they're the
Mike?
micro they're a microloan company. Yeah.
Well, there you go. That's
Oh,
how these that's how we get thrown
Yeah,
on
that
these
makes sense.
games.
Yeah.
that's true.
All right, last one. Okay, aversion fallacy theory. All right,
I think I got it wrong.
I don't know.
I'm going with the
Oh, I got it
short
right.
answer
I
version,
went
and
with
it didn't work.
theory.
Yeah, I did
You know
too.
what? A lot of us
Yay.
did this theory. Oh, you chose theory, Angela?
I
Yep.
chose theory.
Oh, you
Nice
got it
guy.
right. I think you're going to probably win. We're going to find out. Let's see who's on the podium. For two, Murad comes in
Ooh,
third. Second, 2 out of 4.
Howard.
Howard
Well, yeah, but that means Angela's first.
with all in. Here's the thing: you can win with a failing grade of 50%. Congratulations, Angela. Good
Thank
job. Good
you.
job. All right, excellent job. All right, we're gonna have another game. We're gonna play, and by the way, the next game we're gonna play, we do have a massive prize. It's a brand new game. Oh, you know, I have to. I have. I know we have. I don't know if we created the bumper for it, but I'll have to get that soon enough. All right. We don't have any questions from our audience. I'm going to make a plea for them. Audience, please get your questions in. We would love to uh, answer your questions that Angela and Howard could possibly answer on this topic of reaching out to CISOs, which, by the way, so far this conversation has been phenomenal. Also, I put the registration link for next week's event, Hacking Remediation. I know that's a topic that's near and dear to your heart, Howard. So please, everyone, register for next week's event. Join us. Just click on the link, register, and do that while we're chatting here. All right, let's get back to our questions at hand. Let's talk, because you guys were really, really driving home on partnership, and it's hard to don't ask what keeps me up at night. What problems are you trying to solve? That's not a good opening line. You know what I mean? That doesn't work well with a good opening line. So what's an easier way for a vendor to get in, to be able to have that conversation, to try to figure out what are the problems you're trying to solve, Howard?
So the things I want, the thing that makes a call worth having is I walked away with an insight that benefits me and my business. I learned something new, means even if I don't move forward, I now see that in a positive light and I look at this well. If you're going to ask me, what is a single challenge we could help you solve? Don't, because I don't know who the hell you are. Tell me, this is what we do.
Yeah.
Do you have challenges within that space?
Yes.
We'd love to help you solve those. Why make them
100.
so open-ended? Like someone else said, if there was a single challenge we could help you solve, what is it? Give me more budget. Make my board understand how
Things they
hard
can't do.
cybersecurity is and how critical it is to their business. Tell vendors to stop making shit up. Tell everyone to slow down on their adoption of AI. Like none of those things can you solve. So why ask me that question? Ask me, like, think like an attorney. Don't ever ask a witness a question on the stand that you don't already know the answer to. So start with a question that actually fits you, fits your business, and is something that you can do. Ideally, aim for one that results in an answer that you can go, actually, we've talked to customers about this, and the top 5 things that they do to address this problem are these things. Now you've also given me an insight.
Yeah.
Now I have a lot more confidence in you.
I also want to hear outcome driven results. I need whatever the solution is. So walk me through what kind of outcomes could I expect? How does it feed into a grander strategy? How are your other customers leveraging the solution that makes their life so much better, even if it's something that can be woven into a board presentation? My board doesn't get into the weeds of the how I do it, but the outcomes from what I do and execute is so important.
That is really, really good. By the way, I like this one. I think you might like this one, Howard. What is your strategy for not being the scapegoat when the bad thing happens? From Peter Gregory, who we adore. What do you think of that?
My strategy is to be the scapegoat when bad things happen. I don't think you understand the job.
And
Like-
why is that,
like-
Howard?
Oh,
Well, because I'm the one that's built the trust with the board. So when the bad thing happens, I expect the board to come to me, and I don't push it out. I go, cool, we talked about this on this date. Here's what we did to mitigate it. Here's how many people have suffered through the same thing. I firmly believe we did everything possible with the budget and resources allocated to mitigate this issue. Guys, this is cybersecurity, and every time we talk about it. It's not if, it's when, and how bad will it be when it does happen. This is what we've done to make it not worse. Like, I don't shy away from it. And if the board's looking for a scapegoat, I get the biggest paycheck in cyber, so I should be the scapegoat. Because at that point, they're not actually having a conversation. They're looking for it. Like, a scapegoat is not someone; it's someone that inherits it. It's for those who watched.
But hold it. Now, you're talking. Do you talk that level during an incident, because there's an incident
Yeah.
happening? So
Yeah.
you talk at that level, and
That is correct.
And are they agreeing to you? Like,
I've
I guess
never
we did
lost my
make that
job during an
decision. I
incident.
guess Howard's right. I mean, do they say that? I mean, how does that
Not
work?
not in those words, but but the result ends up the same. Right?
It
The result
reminds you that
absolutely ends up the same, right? Guys, we did in fact talk about this. I told you what was needed. We all agreed on what we were going to do. I reported every month. Like, this is the risk that we took on. That's why it's risk mitigation. That's why there is no ROI for cyber. Say it with me, everybody. There's no ROI for cyber. It's an insurance policy.
it is.
There's no ROI. I'm
By
not
the way-
building business.
There's
I'm
no
mitigating risk.
perfect. There's no perfect solution. We're just constantly juggling multiple scenarios, multiple injections within our environment on a day-to-day basis, and we have to deal with it in real time. So
Do you talk in the same way that Howard just described, Angela, to the board CEO when an
yeah.
incident is actually
So
happening?
I level set, yeah, absolutely. I level set with the board up front. Just to Howard's point, it's not if it's going to happen, it's when. So everybody understands that. The
Yeah.
key is cyber resiliency, and the goal is how quickly can we bring operations back online, or how quickly can we be business operational, business as usual. And so I'm getting everyone to focus on the comeback, not that we went through an incident that I cannot stop, I cannot prevent, I don't have a silver bullet. So
Right.
making sure that that goes away, I think hopefully lessens a little bit of the I'm going to point a finger and blame somebody, because for every other I will call it role that's in companies, the CISO is the only role that is under a spotlight constantly.
hmm
Peter asked
You
a
know-
follow-up question if you want to address it.
I'm sure. Who had a follow-up question?
Peter?
Peter.
He rephrased his
Oh.
question. It's a much better question now.
Where do I hold it? Is it in the oh no, I'm looking in the wrong place.
So
here we go.
I'll answer it. So
You put it up there. Okay.
So
I'll ask
Peter,
another way. Say you advise the board that the company should not do some particular thing. They ignore you and do it anyway. The bad thing happens. Then they want to blame you for it when it was their decision to proceed. When that, well, I mean, honestly, I think you could just say what Peter just said there. Yes.
Yeah, I mean you can. And you can always just bring it back to their attention that this was a decision made at this time by this group of people.
And you get people to sign off on the risk. Yes,
They
I
will
hope.
sign off
That
on
is
the
correct.
risk too.
Yeah.
And to Howard's point, if they're just needing someone's head on a pike, okay, it's just gonna happen, and
Right.
we just do what we got to do. But again,
Well,
it's
and I'm okay that it's my head.
Yeah.
Right. I'm
I
an
get it.
executive, so I have an attorney that negotiates those things for me.
Yeah.
If they want to make it my head and make it public, I promise legal's going to get involved and they're going to negotiate. I spent 12 years in the legal space, right? They're going to pay me to be that scapegoat. That's fine. That is part of the risk that I took on in becoming the CISO anyhow, and wearing the big hat.
You know, when you said the line earlier about, I asked you, do you say it in that calm way during an incident? I was reminded of the quote from Woody Allen, who said, who gets in an argument with a guy, and he said, "I said to the man, be fruitful and multiply, but not in those words." And then there's a big roar.
Yeah.
It's a good line. All right. Well, these are great answers, by the way. I love this. This is really, really interesting. Is that And this is this whole point of maintaining a risk register, maintaining sign off and risk. And like all our, actually, I remember Mike Johnson said the same thing. And I would assume the same, you would agree, Angela, here. If I explain a risk clearly and the board or the C-suite gets it and they go, we got the risk, we understand it, we're going to do this anyways, they sign off on it, I got to assume you're cool with that. Like, they got it, I explained it, we're all
Yeah.
on the same page. Yes?
Yeah. So then, yes, but I have to tie that back also to here's what I need to help mitigate that or reduce likelihood and opportunity. And this is what it may cost. And so going back to the point about budget, if I need additional budget and there's not a appetite for that to happen, then I am very clear about this is what I will maintain. This is what I cannot move forward with. And everyone needs to just be aware and understand. I try to remove the I didn't know thought. Now we know. We all are adults and we're choosing to pick door number 2. So, okay.
Yeah. And
Have
Peter, man, I love it when my organization tells me that they're the wrong cultural fit for me. Companies
Oh,
that are looking for scapegoats, I don't actually mind being the scapegoat because it means I've escaped a culture I likely don't want to be in. Culture's the thing that I sign on to as an employee. The paycheck's the side effect, right?
mm,
The paycheck ensures I show up tomorrow. The cultures tells me where I want to be, right?
mhm,
So when they say they're looking for a scapegoat, when they ignore what I've said and assign and don't accept responsibility and assign blame,
mhm.
fantastic. Then I have a reason to go find a company with
Yeah.
hopefully a better culture. I'm okay with it. I
That
mean,
sounds like a very
sure, it's disruptive and
adversarial
it
company.
sucks, but
I have a
you
good
know,
question here from Mike Driscoll, account executive at Rapid7. What are expectations from your board, CEO, et cetera, that sales reps like myself don't realize or understand? Like, this is a good question to ask because it allows for a better sort of communications and that sort of effort to go to partnership. What would be your answer to Mike here on this one? Either of you, jump in.
I would say the board's expectation in from a sales, this is kind of a different way of phrasing that. I don't even have any expectations from the sale. They don't do what they did. Their goal is, do we have the right solutions or capabilities in place to reduce risk? That's it. They're very agnostic of what vendor or what sales or what team we're leveraging, whether it's outsourced, in-source, or hybrid model. It's really show me the metrics. Where are we at risk the most? What are we doing to resolve this? And if it's is something that's cost a significant investment because we can't fix it overnight or over a 6-month period, then let's talk about that. So I don't think that there's any additional context.
Let me ask, because, and this is one thing, this is a trend we saw happening, I'm going to say like maybe 8, 9 years ago,
Hmm.
um, where these huge cybersecurity breaches would break in the trades first, and then they bubble up to the big publications like the New York Times and the Wall Street Journal. But now the complete opposite is happening. They break in the Wall Street Journal and New York Times, and then they bubble down to the trades that provide sort of greater, deeper explanation as to why this thing happened the way it did and how it was handled. Um, I have to assume, because I've heard this a lot, that they will see those themselves and they'll ask you the pretty blatant question of, are we protected against
Are
this
we
kind of
protected?
attack? Yes.
that's the number one. That's the number
That
one
is the
question, right?
number one.
If this happens to us, how bad would it be? Is the number 2 question, right? Also keep in mind, like almost every vendor comes to me and goes, I mean, if you get ransomed, the reputation impact is going to be huge. You may never recover. Bullshit.
I
Statistically, every
know.
brand recovers in 18 months. My board doesn't
Chase
actually care about that.
Cunningham has a whole
Yeah.
thing about buying the breach. You
Yeah.
you buy the breach, you buy the dip, and they all come
Yeah.
back.
The
Yeah.
FUD doesn't work anymore. We cannot
Nope.
operate under that
No.
that
Nope.
umbrella of
Well, I think here's the thing. I think Howard, and again, I'm just speaking anecdotally, when this was not as chronic a problem that, like, it's like getting your tax audit. Like, oh, your number is going to come up eventually, kind of a thing. Like, no one's no one's blamed for being audited these days because, like, it just sometimes
Sure.
happens to everybody.
Sure. Well, it used to be this better not happen to us. Then it
mm,
was, when do you think it's going to happen? How can we put it off? Now it's how bad will it be when it
how
happens?
bad. Yeah.
Right? They're no longer. It is.
It's how
I
bad
haven't
when,
talked to a
not how
board in a
bad
long
is.
time that doesn't think it's a foregone conclusion that this will happen to us. They just want to know what's the impact. And then when it does happen, I've gone through them. When it does happen, the board is asking me, how fast can we put people back to work? Not at 100%, but I'm
Yeah.
paying wages for people to sit. How do I stop them from sitting? What are some things they can do so that I'm not throwing money down that hole? They're not worried about, honestly, I don't get questions about what happens in 30, 60, 90 days. How bad is this going to be for the quarter? I'm literally getting questions on, I have 7,000 people that aren't working. How do I put them back to work?
Yeah.
How do we get
And
them back working quickly?
and the conversation's changing a little bit because the board is definitely aware that a lot of us are using big box cloud services. And if that particular platform is compromised and is down for the count, everybody's impacted. So it's
Right.
really nothing the CISO of that particular company that we work for can do. If Microsoft's down, Microsoft's down. Guess what? No one's writing a letter to anybody. So it's a balancing act almost. So to your point about we have people who aren't working in some situations, there's nothing more we can do about it because it's not our systems, not our platform. We have to wait for that third party vendor.
And how elaborate, let me ask you, how elaborate have your responses been to these questions? Because I've heard things like one guy said like there was a big breach that happened. They had to create an entire presentation to explain to the board and the
Oh,
C-suite,
okay.
this is why we're protected from XYZ. Have you, Angela or Howard, have you ever gone to that level, had to do a full presentation to explain it? Yes?
Not a full
I have.
presentation. I've put an email together, like for particularly when the CrowdStrike thing happened. Everybody's like, "Oh my God!" They know they've seen CrowdStrike as a part of our, strategy ecosystem. So how are we? And so I just needed to put a summary email together really quick to explain, what we leverage versus what we don't leverage. So there was clarity about, where we may be susceptible. What kind of companies are we codependent on?
It I would say it depends on how personal, because I've done both. Right? I've put together emails. Like I'll get an email from the board, hey, this thing happened. Is that going to happen to us? What's the likelihood, right? But I've also put together presentations that I've had to present that are 5 to 10 minutes. Like these are not long things, but it's really a question of how personal is it. It was a direct competitor, operates in the same space, roughly the same size. They know people over there. You know what I mean? Like, are
Yeah,
we next on the
that's
hit list
cutting a
because
little too
that hacker
close to
group?
home.
Yeah, and they want a little bit more personal touch for that. That's
Got it.
fine, but it's not like even those they're not problematic. I don't actually
So
mind those. Those
now,
are
have
easy,
either of you used these as opportunistic moments to get budget
of
too?
course,
Yes.
every
Yes.
time.
Yes. Okay.
Every time. I'm
Yes.
sorry, I clicked send on that email. It now costs you another $1,000 in my budget. I don't understand.
I'll put in, no, this may not have affected us directly. However, in the goal to, underscore our abilities to do X, Y, and Z, we're gonna, on the roadmap is to enable this capability, and we'll need additional budget to get there faster.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, by the way,
I've done that exact thing. I've also done, so we had a subsidiary hacked ransomware right during the like 3 days after the acquisition kind of timing. You know what I mean? Like it was immediate. So they hadn't integrated with the parent company yet, but I parachuted in with a bunch of resources that they didn't have. They were tiny, and rescued them. And I used that to get the board to understand the danger to the parent company, and nearly 10x our cyber budget. Now I wouldn't expect to 10x it again,
Right.
right? But we were able to really rapidly go from effectively no budget to something that still was below market, but at least somewhat reasonable, with a 3-year plan to get us above market, honestly, right? So we went from like 5% of what our competitors spent, 10% as a percentage of budget, to 70%. And at the end of the 3-5-year plan, we were at 110, 115% of competitive spend.
by the way, I like this quote from Aman Sood. The more secure we are, the more viable we are, and the more viable we are, the more profitable we are. And I think, or we will be. So I'm assuming that's really the goal. Everyone, and this gets back to our theme of self-interest. If we can sort of follow this pattern here, agreed?
It's hard to define what is being more
Yeah.
secure actually means when I think
That's my
about
problem with the quote. Yeah.
more
Same exact thing.
secure. Like I try to stay away from the more secure
I
statement
know
because
that's
it's hard to
because
quantify
that's a
that.
loaded question too.
Yeah.
How secure are we?
Yeah, absolutely.
Good point. He was, by the way, I'm giving Amon a cut here. He was trying to simplify a phrase, sort of
Of
No, I
course,
method
like
to
it.
yeah.
it.
I,
I
I like
like
it. That's
it.
not a complaint
No, it made a
of a mon.
point. Totally
Yes.
Right.
makes a
But
point.
it is something that like it's pithy, and I
Mhm.
do like pithy, and people like pithy. But as you start to kind of get into it and break it down, it starts to become a little bit problem. How do you define more secure?
Yeah,
And ultimately, the problem with security is
people.
you've installed the best locks in the world on every single window and every single door, but you also put a box with all the keys half a block away from your house.
True.
You know what
And
I
then you
mean?
have
Like,
people.
Yeah.
Got all the people who are
yeah,
connected to your environment. So you can't manage that. You can only try to control as much, but not a lot, because that is the biggest concern I always have at the people.
yeah,
All
yeah.
right. We have our next game. Is everyone ready for our
Oh,
next game? Go ahead. Click the
yes.
Kahoot button. Let's put it up. This is a brand new game. So this type in the number 493-7672. You're gonna like this one. We've never done this one before. In fact, I've got music for it.
There we go.
It's time to play a brand new game.
All right. I will also do the countdown on this in just a second. But this is just to give you a little background on it. We have a list of top 1,000. I think it's top 1,000 used passwords, and these are all Halloween themed. By the way, if any of you in there were at my meetup in San Diego, you are disqualified because we played this game there. So they've already seen this game. Oh, what did I do? I just jumped in. I'm not going to answer any of these. What am I saying? I've seen this game. I already know it. I don't know why I just jumped in, but I'm in for some reason. Um, but so what you're going to do is you're going to see Halloween themed passwords. Some are more popular than others. You have to figure out which do you think are more popular. And when I say more popular, people are using them far more. And by the way, you shouldn't use any of these, but this is all right. I'm going to do a quick countdown 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I think we're all in here. There's a lot more of you, but go ahead. Start it. Let's do this, Josh. Those are scary pumpkins. All right. Again, I'm not playing. You got 10 seconds. Which password is more popular? Here we go. And they are spider or monster. Which one? Quick answer.
Oh, I was clicking on the graphic. Doesn't work that way.
No. Quick. Did you get the answer?
Ooh,
I got it.
You got spider? Good job.
you did.
Spider is more popular. All right. You're on the top list. Viper is at the top. Mon is second. All right. Next one.
All right.
Spider, yeah, ranked 107, but they're very close. Look at that, ranked 160th
Mhm.
versus 162. Spider is the winner. We have 5 of these, by the way. We're going to do 5 rounds. Death or spooky? Remember, click the red or the blue below.
Ooh, spooky.
Well, there you go. The song from the 70s. Angela at the top. By the
Oh,
way,
Angela.
we are playing for a prize, Angela. If you haven't
Oh.
already, we're going for a CISO series jacket. If you don't already have one, you'll get one. But
Oh.
if you do have one, we are opening up a store, which hopefully, actually, I need to ping these guys where it is because it's been a few weeks. It's supposed to have it. Look at that. Very close. 712 and
That is
718.
very close.
Spooky and death. I'm surprised. I thought death would have been higher than spooky.
Yeah, me too.
I would have thought that. All right. Third one. Ghost, Werewolf, Phantom. Good collection there. Interesting that so many of these Halloween themed words are on the top
Mhm.
1,000 list.
Ooh, wow, I
Mm.
missed it
Ghost.
again.
Phantom.
Only
Only
one
one
person
person.
got Phantom. That
Wow.
surprises me.
Wow.
Well, go
Look at
Mike.
this. Mike
Go
D
Mike.
taking the lead. Look at that,
Yeah.
Mike. Good job, Mike. By the way, when we did this in San Diego, one woman did win. She got, I
Yes.
think, 4 out of 5. And I said,
Wow.
"How'd you do it?" And she goes, "I just guessed." So that is how it works.
Go with your guts.
Go, just guess. Demon, devil, or evil? All three good ones. My feeling could be any of those.
Yeah, could be.
And the correct
Devil.
answer is devil. Only 2 people answer that.
Oh, cool.
All right. Mike,
Ooh,
Mike stays at the top. I'm
he's
sorry, but
still
Eric
there.
is so close. All right. Looks like it's going to be between the two of them. Although if those two blow it, Angela and you get it, you could win this one. All right. Mike and Eric. I think we got a couple of others. All right. Devil is the winner, ranked. Oh no, this is higher than 1,000. Well, these are. It's up to
This is where they.
10,000. Oh god, these are.
Yeah.
Yeah, these are
Wow.
much lower. I'm sorry. I thought it was top 1,000. Looks like probably top 10,000.
Right.
Actually, makes me feel good that a 4-letter password is not in the
Ranked
top
so
1,000.
low.
The others are 5, so I'm glad those are pretty low too.
Yeah. All right, last round. Here we go. Let's do this. Halloween, autumn, October, pumpkin. Again, all could be good, bad passwords.
Ooh,
Pumpkin.
Pumpkin. 5 of you got pumpkin. Isn't any of those people who are in the lead? We're going to find out. Let's see who the winners are. And we're going to see the podium. Number 3 is Eric. Eric slid. I don't think he got 3 out of 5. 3 to 5 for DK, too. Number 1 is...
We need a drum roll.
Mike D. Congratulations, Mike D.
Congrats.
You have won. All right, Mike, do me a favor. Would you email me at david@cisoseries.com? I don't think we've had you on before. Email me your mailing address and your jacket size. I'm assuming you're in the U.S. Mike D, just email me that, and we will get a CISO Series jacket out to you. Congratulations on winning that game. That was a fun one. I like that one.
Yeah.
It was good. I like that one.
Yeah,
all right.
I did too.
We have just 14 minutes left. Okay, so just a couple of quick things before I want to mention that we are going to have our meetup at the end of the show, so please stick around for that. If you've never attended our post-show meetup, it's a ton of fun. And also, Angela, let me ask you this question. Are you hiring over there at UL?
Yes, I am.
What positions do you got open?
We're hiring for a cybersecurity architect and engineer.
Architect and engineer. Okay, so if that is you, stick around. Angela will be around at the end, the post-show meetup. You can chat with her. You can, in fact, you can go into a private room. We have private rooms, have a private discussion about that as well. It's late in London for Aman right now. All right. Okay, so let's get back to our question. In fact, I have a bunch of questions that people asked that have been unanswered. I like this question. All right, I'm going to show it on stage. If as a CISO you must choose between being effective or being liked, which one often wins?
Effective always wins for me.
Yes.
Effective.
Yes.
Always wins.
Always.
But you're also well liked too.
Yeah.
Yes,
nice
because
always.
you're effective. No. You have to be.
Respected. I'll give you respected.
Respect. True.
I'm more brash. You seem like a much nicer person than I am, Angela. So you are likely also more liked. I am very brash, so sometimes I am not liked, but I'm always respected.
Here is a pretty obvious question, and I'm sure you've answered this before, but I'm going to add a twist to this as well. In your experience, are VARs, value-added resellers, more effective than dealing directly with vendors pushing their own tools or platforms? And let me also throw out, because there are huge VARs, the Optives of the world, and then there's small boutique VARs. Does that answer change depending on, and do you have a preference, or it doesn't matter? Like, what's your take on VARs and the large and the small, or dealing directly with vendors?
Whoever has the largest percentage of my wallet is the most effective, kind of in order, and they damn well better be. Right? If you have a larger percentage of my budget and you are a vendor, you should know my environment better and thus be better at aligning to my needs. So a VAR isn't better just because they're a VAR. A VAR might be better because they do 22 things for me and thus understand my business and have a longer relationship.
So they have a higher chance of getting more of your wallet.
That's what it sounds like.
But potentially.
Right? Well, because the thing, it's single vendor, but unless you're like a platform play.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. So a single vendor that's got a platform will have could play kind of like a VAR in a way.
Could.
All right.
I'm always looking for what additional benefits am I going to receive going one way versus the other. So I'm very open
Mhm.
to all of it. It's just really
Yeah.
what am I gaining or what am I losing if I go in one direction or another direction.
Then okay, so I want to play the small VAR thing. You know, one of the things we've heard from startups and why CISOs like working with startups, and I'm interested in your take, and I wonder if this also plays true for VARs, is when a startup is in the marketplace and they want to get some early big wins, the CISO can make real custom requests and they will bend over backwards for them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why we hear from CISOs why they like working with startups for just that reason alone. If they work for a huge vendor, good luck on that.
Yeah.
A, do you agree with that? And B, does that also translate to small VAR versus big VAR? Either of you jump in.
I don't think it's a one-to-one match. I love a good startup. Early in my career, that's primarily who I engaged with startups because of the flexibility, the roadmap was clear. To your point, the bending over backwards to make it work and make it make sense was top of mind. The relationship was definitely a partnership. The problem is, and I've learned over time, is because those products became very popular, they became very attractive to the big box companies. And then once
Hmm.
they take over, it's gone left at that point. And I don't get the same type of relationship. I don't have as much input on their roadmap anymore. I am now treated as customer number 175, and it's just a totally different, you know, relationship at that point. But I love a good startup.
What's your take?
What I always say is if you're a tier one vendor and you are Verizon, and Verizon says, I want so and so Cisco to change and add this feature, Cisco will do it. No doubt about it. Right? Verizon spends $500 million or $1 billion with Cisco. Cisco's going to add that feature. But if you're Viera Wireless, a little MVME,
Right.
MVNE out here in Colorado, and you go to Cisco and go, hey, I need this feature, Cisco's going to very politely tell you to go forth and multiply.
Yeah. But everybody's not a Verizon, right?
Right. And most of us aren't. Most of us are
Yeah.
VR wireless, right? Most of us
Yeah.
are even smaller than that. And
Yeah.
so it really is a question of where can I have impact and how can a big fish in a small pond plays. And I'll be honest, once they put the feature in the platform, they're now kind of stuck maintaining it. So if I can get there early and get the feature in that I care about, then at least I have a lifespan with that feature, no matter what changes. Maybe I don't feel as important because I'm 100% with you, Angela. Sometimes you actually feel important and then all of a sudden you're not anymore because they've grown, but at least I
Yeah.
have the feature that I needed. But it's a really tactical play most of the time, and it's very much a clock starts.
That's true.
Actually, I'm going to promote this as a question and then show it full screen here. The one I literally just posted on the screen. Hold on. Let me show this. Whoops. Why is it not? Oh.
So there's a thing that I talk to to people about that I think is really important to understand within cyber that I think gets missed a lot. Cybersecurity is one of only two things that you cannot choose to participate in. You participate in it, period. Every other game you play, you make a choice. I choose to operate in that market. I chose to sell that product. I chose to hire those people. There's only two things you do not choose to play in. The first is the currency market. You're stuck, like you are at risk of whatever the changes in the currency are. And the second is cybersecurity. The opposition is always there. If you choose not to field a team, they're still fielding a team and you're still playing the game. It's really critical that we all understand that. It is not, I just don't think this is important, thus I'm not going to do it. Great. Because everyone else is looking for an opportunity to exploit that. You are still playing the game. You choose whether or not you're a major league target with a T-ball team.
I would also tease, if no one has read it before, Simon Sinek's The Infinite Game, being that you are in this game and it goes on forever, and winning means you stay in the game. By the way, this question from Phil is a monster question, but I'm gonna be impolite and ask for so that's Phil Nure from Concentric Strategies, and let me just read it quickly to everyone. Do you buy solutions that primarily reduce costs or people resources required? Example, so via automation versus reduce risk. What do you see as the main benefit of traditional solutions like SOAR or newer solutions like AI, reduce costs or reduce risk? I'm going to hypersimplify this. I've heard this before from CISOs that say, I need to kind of know the pricing. If it's so out of my range, I don't care what the heck it does. It's out of my range. Like
Yep.
we can't even have a discussion.
Mm-mm.
So there's a cutoff point, right, Angela? There's a
Yeah,
point where it's like
absolutely.
we can't even talk. It could be the most magical cool problem, solution ever. I
Right.
can't even talk to you.
Right. Absolutely. If the solution is like 1.2 million, you're like, no way, we're not spending that kind of money in investment because there's no ROI, as we talked about. And
Yeah.
then as it relates to if it is in that range, it can reduce risk. I'm not always looking to reduce resources because I can pivot and use those resources, do something else because
Don't
there's
ever.
always a new project, a new solution, a new problem they have to solve. So I don't ever want to lead with I'm going to reduce resources. Efficiency is always a winner for me.
Mhm.
How will I be able to bring time back? How much longer will it take, or how much time is reduced for me to get from step one to step two? That is very exciting, but never the people.
So I have a sales MBA class that I teach, and here it is, really freaking quick.
Mhm.
Politically, my strength in an organization is directly related to the number of people that report to me. Don't talk to me about reducing heads. Second, I've never met a CISO that says they have enough heads. Don't talk to me about reducing heads. Third, understand how my budget works. I have brown money and green money. Know which bucket you're asking from. Have a good argument. Third, I want 20/20 for displacement. If you're displacing an existing tool, I have to overcome the J curve. J curve is the hit that I take in changing my operations. It is a reduction in productivity. So if I'm going to see the benefit, the result has to be 20/20. It has to be 20% more cost effective and 20% more performant, or some mix that ends up with 40 as the end number.
Mhm.
If it is 3% cheaper and
Not
10% more efficient, get out of my office. It's not
yeah.
worth suffering the J
The
curve.
juice is not worth the squeeze.
That's a
There
good.
you go.
All right. I have to wrap this up. We got 3 minutes, and I'm just going to try to wrap this up, and then we're going to do our meetup portion. All right. Quickly, this is actually exciting. We are, as I present this on stage, we are moving our normal Friday show. If we normally had this weekend review show. It has moved to Monday. The Friday show is now Monday. It is called Department of No, KNOW. And we do it as a kick off the week show, not a wrap up the week, but how do we use last week's news to inform our decision making for our security program this week? Because essentially we created the show because this is the feedback we kept getting from audiences saying we use the stories we hear on cybersecurity headlines to determine or to help us sort of build out our security program. So it's kind of a kick off the week show. And we have Rob Teal, who's the CTO of the Oklahoma Department of Commerce and works with you, Howard, over
So
there
he
at
is
GigHome, right?
with us. Yeah, he's with us full time now.
All right. And well, also we have Davi Ottenheimer, one of our other favorite guests as well, digital trust and ethics over at Interrupt. And then just also quickly, stick around for a meetup. As soon as we shut this down, which I'm going to be shutting down in 1 minute, your screen will start doing a countdown saying the breakout rooms are happening. Just stay put where you are and you'll be thrown into a room and you can move in and out of rooms. And then last, I want to say, do you want to sponsor us? We have just sold out for 2025. So we're looking towards 2026. Ping me and we'll get you in on a show in 2026. We would love to have you on. All right. You can take this away. Actually, I can do it now. All right. I normally say, what didn't we talk about? But we have run out of time. So this has been a fantastic conversation. Howard and Angela, this was great. I love the fact that you initiated this on LinkedIn, Howard. Thank you. It was spectacular. Your responses have been spectacular. We love working with Howard. We love working with GigHome. Stay tuned. There'll be a lot more, everybody. And we are now going to go to the breakout rooms. Huge thanks to our producers, Josh and Rich and Chris and Andrew. Josh, take us out.